Well, this is the Weston pumping station. It was one of the first ever to be installed on the Somerset Levels.
We're looking at the O3 cope, and it's a really, really important piece of textile, not just in Somerset, but for the whole of the country.
The main source of energy, of course, in those days was coal. Coal came into Bridgwater from across the coal fields over in Cardiff, and then into Bridgwater docks, and then was brought up the river by barges. These barges had an interesting name. They were called paradies, hence the name of the River Parrett.
First of all, it's so beautiful. We're surrounded by a lot of stone, which is also very interesting, but it's a really beautiful thing, but it's also really unusual. I mean, medieval textile is really rare anyway, and to have a piece of medieval textile of such high quality and status, well, that's just fantastic.
Well, we can have a walk around the boiler. Okay. Steam from the Lancashire boiler comes through along this insulated pipeline down to the main valve here. They really couldn't help themselves and had to make it all look nice and beautiful and formed just because they could. The apple wood teeth, it's very tough, resilient wood. You might think they would use teak or oak or something like that.
Well, if you look really closely at this central figure, you can see the tiny stitches in gold thread here, and remnants of the original colours, and that really bright blue there, and the red, and fragments of purple. It must have just been such a stunning piece of textile when it was first made, and the detail on the face, it really is a fabulous thing, and it's such a personal thing. You can imagine people sat there actually working on the piece of textile.
I can just imagine the old boys when they built this one 148 years ago saying, well, it's all very well having these teeth in there, but how are we going to hold them in? And you can imagine Harry talking to Jack and saying, oh, hammer and nail in, that'll be all right, that'll keep it in there. And here they are, 147 years later, still working.
And the vestments and all the textiles would have been like this. It would just have been ablaze with colour. And you just don't get the feeling of that when you look around the museum at a lot of the stone we've got on display, and of course at the ruins. So it's a really tangible remnant of medieval ecclesiastical life that people just wouldn't normally see. So that's why it's so important and so interesting, I think.
It's coming across something which is like a wreck. It's rusted solid. It doesn't move. But it used to do a really, really useful job years and years ago and made a difference to people's lives. And it's great to be able to take it apart and you fiddle with it and you get in a terrible mess and you redo some new little bits and you have to make the odd bit here and there and alter that, etc., etc. And then it comes back to life and it's warm and breathing. I mean, it might not appeal to everybody, but then bird watching doesn't appeal to me.